Good morning. Welcome, Mr. Gibbons. I'm your fine arts theater professor for this asynchronous online spring semester section. Read with interest your intro posts this past weekend, and looks like we're going to have fun together. It doesn't matter if you don't have experience. This is a fine arts appreciation class. Theoretically, you ought to like and appreciate theater more at the end of this than you do right now, and so that's fine. A couple of you sounds like maybe you should be theater majors. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there, but because you are really interested, and all that's great. We're going to talk this morning just briefly. This is from your textbook. It's in chapter 3. It is Theater's Family Album, Ancient Theater. And the way that textbook lines that out is they do certain historical sections that are like looking through a family photo album, right, to talk about. And so much of what we get, especially in terms of the space of the theater, comes from the ancient Greeks. And this week will be spent focus on an ancient theater space that actually still is in existence. They still host an annual festival, Epidaurus, sometimes called Epidaurus, that is different than an epidural. That's an inside joke in this class. You might see that question. Epidural is an anesthetic that often given to ladies in labor. So epidural does not equal Epidaurus. Epidaurus is a very different thing. And it's, in addition to being a tremendous specimen of the era, it's also kind of a technological marvel. And from an audio standpoint, think about being in a theater outside, seats upward between 12 and 14,000 people, and no microphones. Think about also sitting outside where bugs and noise. Think about the poor ADD people, ADHD people, with all that other stuff going on around them. And so we'll need you to read chapter 3. There's a couple of things that I'm going to point out. Number one, this chart, which is on page 13. This orchestra is typically right there in the center, typically where the action of the show takes place. And we have an orchestra pit that's actually under the stage, which is where musicians play. It's not quite the same thing. They use the orchestra differently. But that's where most of it happens. And then there's a proscenium and a scena, S-K-E-N-E. That's the backdrop. It's where we get the English word scene. It didn't change from show to show, but it gave them a backdrop to play against. And then if a Greek god showed up in a show, they were lowered on a hoist down to the stage so that the god came from on high. It was a special effect, if you will, of the early theater world. There were 3 types of Greek theater. There were tragedies and comedies and satyr plays. We don't have any of the satyr plays. Satyr's that mythological half man, half goat creature. And they were pretty R-rated and above, we believe. Pretty rough. We have some tragedies. We have some comedies. And you will find that those playwrights are noted. The dramatic playwrights are Aeschylus, Sophocles, and Euripides. And there's an important box over here, page 16 in your textbook, that simply says Aeschylus wrote about gods, Sophocles wrote about heroes, Euripides wrote about men. You'll need to be able to know that for an upcoming quiz, so I'll give you that ahead of time. And then they give you 3 comedic playwrights, Euripides, Aristophanes, and Menander. Menander's not particularly that I said that wrong. I messed up. Sophocles, Aeschylus, and Euripides are the tragedians. Aristophanes is the comedian. Menander is too, but nobody has ever heard of him. So make sure you know those. They're going to tell you which play they wrote and which ones survived. Sophocles, probably most famous for having written Oedipus Rex, which Shakespeare will riff off of some couple of thousand years later. There's a couple other things in the text that I would want to point out that you may need to know for upcoming quizzes. One is this thing called a periectoi. It's a triangular structure that can simply be flipped, and so you would paint it on all three sides, and then to change scenes, you could just move that to the other side so that, now we're outside, or now we're in the woods, or now we're in the palace, or now we're wherever, okay? And then the thing about Greek theater is no violence happened on stage. Violence had to go off stage to happen. You might hear it. You might hear somebody being killed, but you would never see it. Greek theater was, aside from the satyr play, a pretty intellectual and heady enterprise, and actors were well respected. Everything happened in threes. So when you went to this festival of Dionysius and you put on your play, there would be three actors playing all the roles. You could only have three actors doing the speaking, and so they might play three roles each or something. And that rule of three was very strong in ancient Greek theater. And then what we will talk about at length next week is the role of a Greek chorus. I don't think we have anything in a modern context that would relate. There would be a group, actors in masks, sometimes kind of what we might call ugly masks, and they would come out, and they usually didn't speak. Sometimes they sang, but they would reflect the emotion of the action happening on stage. And I just don't know that we have anything like it today. And I don't know that we know exactly what it was doing. You will watch some videos that will make some suggestions, but I'm not sure anybody knows, really knows. Because it didn't exist when the Greeks passed the baton to the Romans. We don't have that. And so this is a very short chapter. One of the reasons I love this textbook is that these chapters are very, very short. And what you need to learn this week is about that Greek theater at Epidaurus, because when I take you on a little video tour of my theater here at BB, it's not outdoors, but a lot of it is very, very similar. We really, really get so much of what we do in the space of the theater from the Greeks. They had a lasting impact on the history of theater, maybe unlike other art forms. And so that's what this chapter is about. Again, this is chapter 3 in the textbook. So it's like 7 pages, 11 through 18. Make sure you know the important terms. Make sure you know the things that I pointed out, so that if I give you one of those charts, you could label it. You should also know that the first actor is generally attributed to Thespis of Attica in the 5th century, that he invented acting. High school drama troupes are called Thespian troupes, and that is after Thespis of Attica. He was an important guy. And I'll be going to Thespian Festival in about 3 weeks from now to talk to young actors about coming here to BB. So all of that is still very, very relevant today, even though it's the golden oldies at this point, right? So let's focus just this week just on the space. Let's talk about a theater, and I will, right at the beginning of next week, I'm going to take you on a video tour of our theater, talk about terms that we use today. Stage left, stage right, which are, if you haven't been in the theater, aren't going to be where you think they are. Upstage, downstage. What's the proscenium? So we'll take you on a video tour first thing next week. So there's really just one major assignment this week, and it's all about Epidaurus. Watch those videos, though, and there are questions for you to answer that you'll need to be listening for in the videos, right? And then one of them doesn't have any dialogue at all, but it's really cool. It's a drone flying over the area in and around Epidaurus, and allows you to see it in the architectural ruins there in a way that I don't know how else you would be able to see that. So I hope you enjoy that, and it's worthwhile. The other 3 videos all have questions that you will find. Those questions will be coming back on quizzes, so make sure that you get the right stuff for them, right? You might have to watch one twice. They're all pretty short. That'll be due Sunday night. It's a short week. We had Martin Luther King Day, and I took that off. So I hope you have a great week. I hope you're excited about what we're going to be studying here, and I really look forward to sharing this medium that I love so much, which is theater. I am the theater director here at ASUBB. If you ever wanted to audition for a play, you'll be welcome to. In fact, we're going to audition on Thursday. So if you want to come, come. All right. Have a great day. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.